live.
Wow. All right.
Here we go. We are live.
Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino. I'm Elliot Parks, James Seltzer with you.
What up?
It's a big one, buddy.
It's a big game.
Every week's biggest game, biggest, the Chiefs win, biggest win in a decade.
Yeah,
like,
Bills, yeah.
But in all honesty,
This is the game.
Just in terms of hype.
Yeah.
In terms of excitement, talk about the game, all that stuff. Even Jason Kelsey said it on the air with us today that this is the most hyped Eagles game that we can remember.
Yeah.
In recent times.
And he's been here a while.
Maybe a make it win and lose out type game at the end of the year. It doesn't get any bigger than this. I'm hitting the table.
The table slamming has begun.
1, 2, 3. I fucking hate the 49ers. I'm freaking ready. Let's freaking go, bud. Let's go.
This is the game. Yeah. This is it. This is it.
All the talk, all the off-season nonsense, Robbie Gould and Debo Samuel and blah, blah, blah. It's freaking go time.
So I think the mistake people are making with this game is that the Niners won it way more than the Eagles.
Thank you.
I think the Niners won it more in a very small sense in a way, but the Eagles are also very motivated by this. The Eagles are also very, I think hurt's not the right word, and it's definitely not the right word, but the Eagles are also motivated by the fact that Niners think that win was cheap. For sure. That's been a talking point they had to listen to, and let's be honest, not just from the Niners.
Talk is cheap is literally what Hassan Reddick just said.
Right, but also
said it.
I think from an Eagles perspective, I think a lot of their motivation comes too from the national perception that the Niners only lost that game because Brock Purdy was out. And while it did impact the game, no question, the Eagles were never going to lose that game.
No
the Eagles were going to win that game. The Eagles were a better team last year. And so I think coming into this game, I've compared it a few times to Eagles-Chiefs, how the Eagles really, really wanted that one and the Chiefs were motivated by it, but it wasn't the same. I think this is different than that. I think both teams are very, very motivated.
I 100% agree. You can hear it. Hassan Reddick literally, responded to Debo Samuel. The Jordan Mailata on with John and I literally said, sorry, it matters.
I'll never forget.
And look, there are a lot of players who will take the high road and kind of say, whatever. But let's be real. We all know. We all heard the talk that happened. We heard Debo Samuel call James Bradbury trash.
Yeah.
He called the dude trash.
Yeah.
They're underdogs, no less. Nick Sirianni knows it. We talked to him about it when he was on the morning show yesterday.
Right.
We're like, hey, Nick, you're underdogs, right?
And he said good. He said good.
We like
and they'll
being
use
underdogs.
it. They'll use it.
Of course they'll use it.
Yeah.
This is, and I was big on the Eagles wanted that Chiefs game more. The motivation matter. This is not a game about motivation. This is a game where both teams are coming in wanting. This is the game that each of the teams score a goal on the schedule. This is it.
Well, and also, I've been thinking about this week. Who has more to prove in this game, right? And I think that the Eagles are the better team, I believe. And the Eagles deserve to be number one in all the power rankings. I think both teams have something to prove.
Yeah,
in
I
this
don't think
game.
there's any question the Eagles have more to prove. Which is absurd because they're 10-1, but they are an underdog at home. In
right,
this game.
correct.
So they clearly have more to
the
prove.
national audience is telling you they think the Niners are better.
Exactly.
They're telling you, when
what would the line be if it's in San Francisco? Would the Eagles be a 5.5 point dog?
I just don't believe it would be that high. But yes, I know mathematically. Exactly.
5 or 4.5, but that's crazy.
Right. I think it's something like 6.5, 7 if you do the 2 points home, all those things. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I think what the Eagles have to prove in this game is just another week where people are doubting them. It's really the only way to put it. To be underdogs at home. You can build an argument where, all right, they're missing Zach Cunningham. They might be missing Lane, although I think Lane's going to play. So there's that factor of it. The Eagles have been, playing closer games than the Niners, all those things. But no matter how you slice it, no matter what way you do it, the Eagles being home underdog is disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
There's no question about it. It is absolutely disrespectful.
There's no other way to put it.
Whatever argument you build why the Niners should be favorites is caked in disrespect for the Eagles of saying they're lucky to win or because they're missing Zach Cunningham they might lose. They're 10-3, I think. No, sorry, 17-3 in their last 20 home games. 14-0 in their last games against teams with winning record. They win all the time. So while you can certainly point to certain incidents and say, all right, maybe to make them home dogs, it's they are correct to use it as disrespect.
Absolutely. And we should be, everyone should be disrespected by it. It's outrageous. It really is.
Yeah.
Again, it's never happened.
I think it was 1971 or something like that.
No, it's only happened 2 times ever that a 10-1 team has been an underdog at home ever in the history of the NFL, and both of those times were week 17, back when they only played 17 weeks.
Right.
Were week 17 when a team was sitting their starters. That's it. It's never happened before where a team was 10-1 and better with this kind of, with one loss and this many wins, a home team being an underdog. It's never happened before.
And it shouldn't be happening this time.
History of the game.
Yeah. So I think this is a bigger disrespect than the Super Bowl. Like the Super Bowl run with the underdog mask. Like I think this is a bigger, because while that team was disrespected and underdog,
there was a reason.
Yeah, they were missing their starting quarterback.
The MVP of the team.
And
of the league, we thought.
For what it's worth, if you look at those games, it was understandable they were underdogs against the Falcons. Foles had played terrible. Barely beat Atlanta, so you understand the home dog against. Exactly. So
it all made sense. We used it, but it made sense.
It made sense.
This is nonsensical.
Yeah, but like the Niners are good for sure. There's no denying the Niners.
Of course they are.
But
they're the second or third best team in the NFL. Everyone to shake it out.
I've had to grapple a lot this week because like going in,
you've had to come around. The Niners don't suck.
I'm not fully there yet.
Good.
But
we need someone in
I know.
On the
I'll tell you this: if I go on the Niners podcast or radio station, I won't be saying these things. I will make them.
Bring it the way you
I'll bring it. I'll bring it. But like,
I don't think you'll be invited back, buddy.
Well, I've already been asked a few times, so I got to decide.
You absolutely eviscerated them last time?
Yeah. Well, that show hasn't asked me back. Yeah, but that station has. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But like the Niners are a good benchmark for the Eagles just to see how well they're playing, all those things. But again, like I keep coming back to it. They have the better quarterback, the better head coach, the better line play. And they're home. So and I also think like this is a big pet peeve of mine too.
Line play, you could go both ways. I think line play is really good.
Well, I don't think so because I think the Niners' offensive line is considerably worse than the Eagles' offensive line.
That's fair.
And
Trent Williams is very good.
Trent Williams is very good, but the rest of those guys are not very good.
Fair.
They're not very good. So I think
their D-line is
their D-line is close, definitely close. But like Bosa's probably the best player on that line. But then after that, like it's probably Reddick. I think I would go Sweat over Chase Young.
Oh, I would definitely go over Chase.
Jalen Carter, Hargrave, close, Armstead.
Jalen Carter.
Yes, no seriousness. Like Jalen Carter's been just as good as Hargrave this year. So I think the Eagles probably have a better line. I think they have more sacks than the Niners, I'm pretty sure. The Niners are surprisingly like 10th in sacks. They're not as high in sacks. Where they really do is they hit the quarterback. They're number one in the league in hitting the quarterback. But before we get on to that, like to what you started with, this is the game that I've been waiting for. Like I remember doing the 49ers interview on the radio station and then coming on WIP and like I had like adrenaline running through me. I was like, I can't wait for this game to start. Like, and a lot of it too, for what it's worth, is like a lot of Niners fans and Niners media members like came at Eagles fans too.
Oh, big time.
Right. So like there's that part of it as well. And did you see that stat that according to Vivid Seats or something like that?
Yeah, 28%.
20. I find that hard to believe.
I feel there's no possible way. Like, how is there? You're telling me.
I mean, that's a fourth. It's like, over a fourth.
There's no way 28% of Eagles fans are selling their tickets, right? I mean,
well,
I guess the point is that 28% of tickets are owned by
28% of tickets
owned by the ticket brokers.
But that's also assuming every single ticket broker is selling to Niners fans. Like we know 100% of the, or whatever number, 95% of the tickets in that stadium are season ticket holders. So like,
so that's what I don't get.
I'd be surprised. Now maybe a portion of them,
a bunch of season ticket holders would have to be selling their tickets. Is the point to make
which wouldn't like surprise me. Like some season ticket holders,
but
you can't. But the tough thing is you can't control who you sell it to.
Some people just sell tickets,
right? Like if you have season tickets, you're like, I'm gonna go to every game but the Niners one, and I'm gonna sell them both and make back like I don't know, whatever 40% of what I spend on the year. Like I understand that. It just, you can't control who you sell them to. But I just don't believe 28% will be Niners. Like Niners fans do travel well.
They do.
But I would be shocked. I would be
floored. Yeah. If a quarter of that stadium's red, I will be over a quarter.
And it could get ugly too.
Well, that was my worry. When I heard that stat, so Rios
that was my first
thought
too.
On the morning show on an update, and I was like, we've been having so much fun this year.
Right.
None of it's fun, but we've been having fun being able to look at all the fights across the NFL and be like, not us, guys.
Yeah.
Not us. Feels like, let's be careful out there.
And I would say this to both fans. Like, just don't fight anybody in the crowd.
I agree.
Yeah.
Fighting's dumb.
It's pointless. I'm sure it hurts. Like, there's no, you want to get hit.
You want to fight.
You want to spend all that money and then go get, like, swung on.
You get arrested.
I agree.
Like, it's one of those, it's a big risk reward thing here.
Yes. Not much reward. I've never been in a fight.
You won the fight.
Yeah.
And, like, the 15 people around are like, good job.
Yeah, and then the other one else is like,
about it for the rest of their lives.
Like, I will say, as someone that's never been in a fight, there must be something a little cool about winning a fight. But now's not the time. Focus on the game. But it'll be a crazy atmosphere. Like, I'm sure the pregame will be insane. I mean, it's going to feel like a playoff game.
Really
like, this is the game.
This is the biggest regular season game, like, playoff game feel that you, like, again, Jason Kelce, who's been here, 13 years or whatever it is now, came on the morning show and said, I don't ever remember a game with this much hype. Ever. A regular season game. He said he's never seen one. He's been here a long time.
But
it's a big game.
But here's like the nice thing about it. Like, obviously it's an important game and it's a big game emotionally and it matters.
Is a nice point. Yeah.
But like by beating the Bills, you have some leeway if you're the Eagles. Like the only thing is if you lose this game,
you can't lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, you have to win one of the next 2.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, honestly, can we all be honest with
the
ourselves?
Cowboys matters more.
It just does.
It does.
It technically does.
Yeah, like I was like from the standings.
I do think that if you win the Niners game though, you're not going to lose. I guess theoretically Seattle at the back end, so you want to beat Dallas.
I think the worst absolute like I cannot believe this is happening scenario is you lose 2 of the last 4, and that is like you lose to Seattle and then you lose one of those 3 you're not counting on.
Right.
But I don't think you will. Like I don't think the Eagles will lose. I think they will end the season 3-0.
I think they're 4-0. I think they'll beat Seattle.
But the point I'm making is if you go 1-1 in these next 2 and then you really really collapse, you're still only ending up with 3 losses. So like. I guess you then lose the tiebreaker to the Niners and head-to-head.
To the Niners,
the Niners would have to win out.
You would have the tiebreaker against Dallas. Niners still have Baltimore in their schedule too.
Right. Now I think they could beat Baltimore.
Of course they could.
Yeah.
They could lose.
But yeah, it's a tough one, right? So they're looking good for the 1 seed. But I do think like with this game specifically, it's more of just
you just want
to prove it.
You just want to win it.
Yeah.
I just want to beat these freaking losers, man.
Right.
I'm sick and tired of it. I'm tired of all the freaking crowing and all the nonsense and all the freaking kicker. Calling our quarterback a system quarterback. Bleep off.
Yeah.
Right? By the way, I've decided that I need to use that phrase more often.
Bleep off.
Well, earmuffs 1, 2, 3. I think fuck off is a great phrase.
Yeah.
I think it is just such a good way. Like, just fuck off, man. All right? Like, there's something great about it. Big fan of it. I've decided.
I get your point.
I decided that recently. I'm going to try and use fuck off.
I hear you use frickin' recently.
Yeah, that's a
I'm okay with that one. No, I right. I got that.
Yeah, I'm a F off.
You're going to, all right. It's your new thing.
There's something very, it's like very definitive. It's like just F off.
It's strong. It's definitely strong.
Get the hell away.
It's definitely strong.
It's good. I'm a fan of F off.
I was also thinking about Brock Purdy.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of the arguments that are made against Brock Purdy are ones that we hate that are used against Jalen.
I think Brock Purdy's pretty good.
I think Brock Purdy might be pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen is better.
Good. Of course he is.
But I also think for me, Brock Purdy kind of symbolizes, and I think Debo symbolizes this too, why I think the Niners are good but not like great. I just think their talent on the offensive side of the ball is not as impressive as people make it out to be. Like, I think Purdy is very good. I don't think Purdy wins you games like by himself. I think Debo is very good. I think Debo is basically a system gadget player that relies on Kyle Shanahan. Like, I think Kittle is very good, but again, like, I don't know, like he's good after the catch, but he's not like
they're all good though.
They're good,
and then they got McCaffrey, who's great.
McCaffrey's great, but he's a running back.
Yeah, but they got a lot of guys. I mean, I'm not gonna.
But I think
those weapons are as good as the Eagles' weapons.
I disagree. I think the Eagles' weapons are better.
Without Goddard,
I think
without Goddard, the Niners have better weapons.
I disagree.
Without Goddard,
yeah.
The Eagles have AJ, Devontae, and DeAndre. You think those 3 are better than?
Well,
McCaffrey,
are we including quarterback in this? We're not including quarterback.
No.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
talking weapons.
Okay, you're not because if it's quarterback, then it's not even
miles ahead.
Yeah, and if we do offensive line, it's miles ahead as well.
I'm just talking
receivers,
just
tight ends, and running backs.
Yeah, I think that if you take Dallas Goddard out of the equation, the Niners win.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, and here's my reason why.
Kittle over Stoll.
Agreed,
like
for sure.
A
mile by a mile.
Over Swift is at least a large portion.
Yeah.
And Ayuk and Debo are not like that much. I think they're worse. I think AJ and Devontae win, but like Ayuk's awesome.
Ayuk's very good. I agree. But I think the Eagles have 2 players that can line up outside and win on man coverage, and I don't think Debo does that consistently.
But again, I think the combination of the 4 beats the combination of the 3.
But I think if there was all right, so we drafted their skill position players.
I think AJ and McCaffrey are the first 2 picks.
You think so?
Without a doubt, yeah.
Okay.
You don't think McCaffrey's the top 2 pick because he's running back?
I don't know. McCaffrey's awesome. Like, this is not an anti-McCaffrey. He is very good.
If you could pick weapons for the game, I would take McCaffrey. I might take McCaffrey first.
Really? Over AJ and Devontae?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
McCaffrey's awesome. Like, it's not a
weapon.
McCaffrey is very good.
Yeah, I think the next are AJ and Devontae, but then all the rest are the
so 2 of the best 3, 2 of the top 3 are.
It's 4 versus.
No, I
3.
get that, but I think the top end talent on the Eagles. Like, I think the Niners.
If Goddard were there, I'd pick the Eagles. Without Goddard, I don't.
Now Goddard might be there.
I think it's very unlikely Goddard plays.
I don't know about that. I think it's 50-50.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but
explain.
Well, he's going to try to play.
I know he's pushing to play, but
right.
But the James Palmer report that came out says pushing to play, but it's more likely.
It's more likely. Agreed. But I just wonder if he's always had this Niners game circled. I mean, they said it was a 4-week injury. It's been 3 weeks, so it's not like it's It's not like it's like a month early. It's 1 week earlier than they thought. And I mean, obviously he has to get cleared and all that, but I think there's a shot. But that aside, it's more for me. I am not as impressed with Debo as other people. And I know there's Kittle and I get all that, but I think,
4 versus 3.
but AJ and Devontae, like, I think you're underselling them a little bit.
I think they're the second and third best of the group. I'm just saying it's a 4 versus 3 thing. Like, this is literally Jack Stoll is the fourth in the group. Like,
you're right.
Kittle's so much better than him that I think it wins the group.
Okay, how about this? Who do you think has a better offense?
The Eagles, I think, better offense.
Yeah. So I like, if we want to quibble on skill receivers,
but
maybe.
But that's Hurts, of course.
But they also have a way better. No, I know, I get that. But the Eagles also have a way better offensive line.
The Eagles are better.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Eagles don't have better offense.
Yeah.
We're talking just those.
I just think AJ and Devontae are so much better than Debo. Like, I think, like, it's a pet peeve of mine how good people think Debo is. He's a little like my Jokic of the NFL. A little bit. Like, I think Debo's fine. Like, he's a nice player, but
I
like,
think he's much better than you do. I think he's a very dangerous player.
He is, but like, he's basically like Jalen Reagor on steroids. Like, he's like, like how they use him is not how.
Clip for Debo. I like this.
Fine, but like,
no, Matt.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been the biggest crybaby.
I just don't think Debo. I think AJ and Devontae could probably do to some degree what Debo does, but Debo could not do what they do.
I don't think AJ and Devontae could be running backs. I think you're absolutely wrong about that.
Maybe.
Like, they're just
maybe, but you wouldn't need them to. Like, that's you wouldn't. But that's like saying like it's like saying like, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence couldn't be like what Taysom Hill does. Like, sure, but
Debo, come on, you're not giving Debo enough credit.
Debo's like the Taysom Hill of receivers. He's a nice player. Like, they use him over the middle. He breaks tackles, but like, he is
better than you do. We can agree to disagree.
I don't think he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
Probably not, but I think he's top 20. Like, he's top 15 or something like that.
Think he's better than Devontae?
No, I would take Devontae.
All right, well, so where do you have Devontae?
I think Devontae's like a top 12.
Okay, all right. I think he's probably there. I think on a larger scale, he would probably be viewed more top 20.
I agree.
Unfairly,
I think Devontae. I think Devontae's almost as good as AJ.
Yeah, I agree. So I would rather have just me and how I like to run the offense.
This is the right energy I want.
Yeah,
this is good. Just
like, it's a gadget offense that they run. Like, it is. Like, this is my thing about McCaffrey. Well, as good as McCaffrey is, and he breaks tackles and all that, like,
this is great.
He's a running back. Like I was pro drafting Bijan because they had great receivers and all those other things. Like, your best offensive player can't be a running back, in my opinion.
Okay.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's Christian McCaffrey,
I mean, they shut the and I know they didn't have,
especially because like it's one thing to say like your best, like they also have other good offensive players, so it's not like they're only.
They do, but McCaffrey is their best offensive player.
Yeah, but he's one of the best offensive players in football.
Yeah, as a running back.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a weapon.
He's a weapon. I agree. He's a weapon. But he is like a fine weapon.
I think your Debo argument's better than your McCaffrey.
I look. It's not an anti-McCaffrey take. It's like
running back.
No, I would gladly play a team whose two best offensive players are running backs.
Well, their best offensive players are running back.
Yeah. Well, Debo's basically a running back. I mean, I should have looked up for the pod. Like, he lines up in the backfield. He lines up in the slot quite a bit. I would be curious how many times he.
Dangerous thing to have on your team.
I guess.
Follow him around. You gotta have guys.
But I think that
he is. We always talk about, and credit where due, we always talk about, like, and again, I'm not here to defend the Niners, like, fuck them, but we always talk about guys you have to game plan for, like, you have to game plan for Debo Samuel.
But what I think is advantageous for the Eagles is if you have the right game plan against their system. I don't think Debo, McCaffrey, and Kittle like AJ and Devontae, you can't game plan against. Like, they win one-on-one. I think McCaffrey does a little bit. Like, I think you can shut them down with the right defensive game plan.
Love it.
Talk to Sean. Is my thought.
Get it together.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Gannon did it, so.
No, not really.
So, interesting point.
Their quarterback.
Well, still shut him down. Unless you think that's an excuse for them to lose. Then.
No, it's not an excuse to say Jonathan Gannon.
So, Jimmy Kempski.
Jonathan Gannon's great moment as an Eagle prior to that.
It was. People liked him. Remember, he had the whole gut him. Yeah. Then, unfortunately, Jalen fumbled in the Super Bowl, and everybody hates him.
Unfortunately, Jonathan Gannon got dashed by Andy Reid. Andy Reid made him his child.
Yeah, he did. He got outcoached. I agree. He did. Yeah, he got outcoached.
Yeah,
but
would never happen to Sean.
Jimmy Kempski made a good point about like the Niners' offensive scheme and Kyle Shanahan, who also, by the way.
Oh, well, he's the biggest loser.
Exactly.
We can all agree on that.
Yes. Like
the 0-38 in the fourth quarter.
It is the craziest stat. I mean, we've said it on the pod, but we'll say it again. 0-38. It might even be worse now, but 0-38 when he's trailing by 8 points in the fourth quarter.
It's unbelievable, especially when you compare it to the Jalen stat where it's like 13-3 when he's been down 10 when he's been down 10.
You guys said this stat on the morning show today. The Eagles this season are 5-0 when they trail at halftime.
Yep.
The rest of the NFL is like 30-100. It was
35 and 129.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like
on.
So.
Well, and that's the part. I think that's the thing is like with this whole like, oh, they're getting lucky and all that. Instead of like saying like, no, like that's amazing.
Right.
That is an accomplishment. This team is never out. They're resilient. They fight. They have the mental fortitude, the mental toughness to not recede into themselves and to never be out of a game and all that. Instead of saying that stuff, it's like, oh, they're getting lucky. Oh, they didn't catch it.
They're not getting lucky. They're not getting lucky.
Of course they're not.
They do. There are times they need to play better, and I feel that way after the Bills game. But they're not getting lucky with these wins. They're just not. Like other teams are making mistakes because other teams are not as good. But back to the thing real quick.
The Eagles execute when it matters.
Yes, 100%. And that's the other thing too. Like, I think the reason the Niners lose close games is because if you figure out a way to coach like equal to them and you figure the scheme out, they don't have the players to make big plays at the end of games. Whereas the Eagles do. Like,
well, they have talented players. You're saying their players just don't make big plays.
I'm saying they are reliant on.
It is unfair to go into this game and say that the Eagles are a way more talented roster because they're not. Like, they're a more talented.
They're
roster.
not way more talented,
the
but
Niners are a freaking roster, man.
They're a good roster.
They are the second most talented roster in the NFL, and I think there's a gap. I think it's the Eagles, the Niners, and then just pure talent. I'm talking about not best team ever, pure talent. I think the Eagles and the Niners have definitively the two best rosters in the NFL.
That's probably true. I would say. I mean, there's always an argument for the Chiefs. Just yeah, exactly.
Know, but I'm talking top to bottom.
Yes, agreed.
1-53.
Yeah.
I think it's Eagles 1 with a bullet and Niners 2 with a bullet.
Although I don't think this can be undersold enough over these next few days. Their offensive line is not good.
I like this.
Like that is a major part. I'm just saying, like we can talk about how great.
How bad are they?
We can. Well, their right tackle is trash. The interior of their line is not good. Pro Football Focus has them like 15th in the league in pass protection. But like they have Trent Williams, who's very good for sure. But like as much as people focus on Fred Warner's a great player. Fred Warner's a linebacker. And I know he like makes plays all over. Like he's a great player. But it matters more that the Niners have a bad offensive line.
You just taking dumps on great players. You're like, yeah, Fred Warner's fine, but he's a linebacker.
Yeah, he is. Like, let's be honest. You could argue their two best.
Fred Warner's like one of the most entertaining.
All right, you could argue their two best players play the most replaceable positions in football.
You could.
In fact, I think it's actually the argument. If you ask everybody who their
Bosa is one of their two best players.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah,
Bosa's,
you could say two of their three best, probably.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
Probably their third best.
Yeah,
he's up there in the discussion.
Right, they play meaningless positions. The Eagles' best players. The Eagles' best players play the important positions.
I love it.
So here's
you're the MVP right now. This is such energy I needed. Like,
I just think it's.
I just like won't even give the Niners credit. I love it.
They're a good team, but like they're not. I'm not even sure if I believe this, but let me talk it out and say.
Talk it out, buddy.
I think if the Eagles and Niners played a game without coaching, the Eagles would demolish them. And I
actually agree with you. I think this is actually a great
right? And I don't mean that to shortchange Nick.
No, it's just that Nick has built a group that plays together and doesn't need the scheme.
The Niners need Kyle Shanahan, and that's the reason they're not a great team. They are, but like they're not true contenders is because Kyle Shanahan is a loser at the end of the day. So he can scheme up the first and second quarter. At the end of the day, I would be stunned if this game is close late and the Eagles lose because I just don't think they have players that will like make plays outside of the scheme the way the Eagles do. Like we're overlooking quarterback here, but Jalen is someone that I believe.
Well, that's the biggest advantage the Eagles have by far.
Yeah, and Purdy's good, but
Jalen's way better.
Purdy is reliant on Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
more so than Jalen is reliant on his coach.
No doubt.
Like Jalen can make plays outside of the script.
Structure.
That yeah, exactly. Like broken plays, Jalen makes positive plays. Purdy, to me, when I've seen him, he moves well. I give him credit. He is not Jalen when it comes to making plays. He's just not.
I totally agree.
And so if the Eagles, okay, this is what I was getting back to.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Kemsky made this point. I'm giving credit. It's a good point. That if you look at the teams Eagles have faced this year, they faced two teams that were under the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, Mike McDaniels and Sean McVay, or at least, right? Two best defensive performances of the year.
Ah, interesting.
So like, and last year,
that is interesting.
Yeah, and last year too, like I know the quarterback, it absolutely impacted things. They demolished that Niners offense.
They did.
I just don't think the Niners are going to come in here and out scheme Sean Desai. I don't.
I love.
And because of that, like I don't think they have though. As long as the Eagles tackle well, and this was another good point Kemsky made, and shout out to Kemsky, made some good points on Twitter in his article. The Niners are like 7th in yards after the catch. The Eagles have played 5 teams ahead of them in yards after the catch.
Wow.
Right? Now you could argue maybe the Eagles are giving up a lot of yards after the catch,
that's
and
true. Well, that's true.
But like I don't think of the Eagles as a poor tackling team this year. Like my gut instinct of just watching them, I don't think of them as like missing tackles all over the place. Like I honestly think Bradley Roby could man up Debo in the slot. I really feel that way. I really do.
Yeah, I love your
Debo is such a gadget player. Like Debo has to be schemed open. He has to run. You could put AJ Brown and Devontae on any roster in any team, and they would be great players. Debo would fall off significantly if he didn't have a good offensive scheming head coach. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that.
I think you can line up AJ and Devontae on the outside 101 and just throw it to him enough, and it won't matter.
At that point, yeah. I think you're underrating Debo as a talent. I think the dude
most of Debo's highlights are running the ball or like getting screen bubbles and doing that. Is that not most of his highlights? Well, how many times do you see Debo beat a man down the field and make him? How many times though?
I don't know. I don't watch the Niners all the time.
But you see highlights. Like I'm saying,
Debo do it.
I don't know if you have. I'd be curious to find one.
This is great.
I'm just saying.
You really hate Debo.
Not just
that, and I hate Debo hates us.
I think he's overrated.
Yeah, Debo.
I know. I think he's a very, very good gadget player. Like I think that's what he is. Dude, when there was rumors about the Eagles trading for Debo, I was out on it. Like it was part of me was like, just who cares? Do it. But I was not like, this is the number one receiver they need. Like AJ is way better than Debo.
I agree with that. I think AJ is definitively better than Debo.
Yeah.
But I think Debo is better than you think he is.
I think he's a nice player. He's a nice gadget player. He's a nice gadget player. Yeah.
All right. I want to get more into the game. I also want to get to a certain player in town.
Honestly, by the time people listen to this pod.
Might be time.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Download the BetParks Sportsbook Casino app. I mean, seriously. It's week 12. It's week 13. Is it week 12? It's week 13.
It's crazy.
It's week 13.
Yeah.
Download the app. We're having so much fun going through these games. We're going to pick all the games on the BetParks Picks pod. Tomorrow we'll go through every game on the slate. And isn't it just more fun? You're watching these games. Just have a little action on it. Have our action on it. Bet with us. Have fun with us. It's a beautiful thing. You can bet on all the games, obviously. Bet on player performances, touchdowns, receptions, rushing yards, all the good stuff. And oh, by the way, a lot of basketball action to bet on right now. So much action to be bet on. You can bet on individual player performances there, points, rebounds, assists. Been making money on that. You know why? Just bet on good players to do good. I know that seems like a crazy strategy, but this guy in Denver that Elliot hates, you know what? If you bet on him, he's usually going to make
don't
money.
Get me started on that.
He's usually going to make
him and this 49ers receiver, same thing.
Guy makes you money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's just more fun. We're watching these games, throw a little action on it, makes it way better. Here's a great deal for new users. If you are a new user, if you sign up now, if you make a $10 bet, if your first $10 bet is a winner, you get $125 in sports bonus back. It is an amazing deal. You must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So, we have the Go Birds Twitter group.
We do.
And there's a lot of people in there. Always warms my heart to see them on game day. Everybody talk about it. We had somebody named Matthew Weber write this, and I think it's so clever and so good. You ready?
I'm shut up. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts here for Window Nation. Window Nation can save you up to 50% on energy costs, but I can still do better and get my energy savings to 100%. Like I always say, keep the window pane thing the window pane thing.
That's good.
How good is that, right?
Great work. So that's Jalen Hurts, Window Nation.
What I love to hear from him most is like, we are talking about Window Nation and the Go Birds audience is listening. And there's a reason why. It's because like we can say Window Nation all the time, but I really think what gets people attention is like the insane deals they have. The no interest for 5 years, buy 2, get 2. Like they definitely like you hear about sales all the time. These are ones that catch your attention. And it's always important to have good windows. It's something we've learned and talked about on the pod. Like I've learned that Dan Campbell is a good head coach. I think everybody has learned that Window Nation, windows really matter. It keeps the temperatures inside. It is cold today, by the way.
Dude, it is freezing.
It is in the 20s.
It was horrible. Let me tell you something. Leaving your house at like 3:30 in the morning when it's freezing cold is the worst feeling in the world. Like, like, I don't mind waking up. I don't mind my schedule and all that. Like when it's this cold out.
But you know where it wasn't cold?
In my house.
In my house.
Imagine how much worse it'd be cold in my house at 3 in the morning.
So I work out on the treadmill, not every morning, but most mornings. And here's a little inside baseball story.
Look
you ready?
You, nailing it.
So when I work out on the treadmill, I work out in like a suit, so I sweat a bunch.
It's so weird.
I know. But
it is your weirdest thing. But go ahead.
But so when I take off the suit, I leave it in the basement. I walk upstairs, just my underwear, right? But I can do it in the house because it's hot. There's hot in there. The cold air is not getting in. So another benefit of windows. You can walk around the house however you please. So make sure if you want good.
Draw the shades. And
I always have to yell up to Kristen because she might be on a Zoom. Can I come upstairs? Yeah. And she's like, what have I done with my life? All right. So Window Nation, 866. I can't believe I'm messing this number up. 866-90 Nation, Window Nation. I know. I'm bad at remembering numbers. I try. 866-90 Nation, windownation.com. Go get good deals on windows. Go get the interest free and all that, and be part of the Go Birds fam.
And tell them Go Birds sent you.
Tell them Go Birds sent you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You mentioned the fan group. Shout out to Ben Weber. I saw this on Twitter. This is from an Eagles fan group. It doesn't say who posted it, but I was dying when someone put in a fan group, when I die, bury me in a Jalen Hurts jersey. I might just come back.
Oh, that's good. That is good.
What is that?
That is good.
That is so good. I saw it. I was dying.
That is very good.
Very, very clever. All right, before we get to the Shaq Leonard situation, hopefully he's an Eagle by the end of this, let's swing it around because we've talked a lot about Jalen and the offenses matching up. The defensive side of things. The Eagles going up against this defense, which is very, very talented.
Get ready for the same energy I have.
Yeah, bring it. I'm ready.
The Niners' defense is good, for sure. But the Eagles' defense, I think, is just as good as the Niners' defense.
It is the same energy.
I think they have a better defensive coordinator to start.
Hey, I'm with you, buddy.
Right? They have a better defensive line. They're close, but I think the Eagles have a better.
Who is the Niners' defensive coordinator?
Steve Wilks.
After D'Amico. Oh, they got Steve Wilks.
Yeah.
He's good.
So I think the Eagles have better top-end talent in the secondary than the Niners do, especially now the Niners lost their best safety for the year.
Apparently, and I didn't watch enough, but apparently that guy was great.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Ross Tucker was on the morning show with us and said, imagine the Steelers or whatever year he said, losing Troy Polamalu.
Now, look, I love Ross. All my heart.
Bit of an on-brand going with the Hawaiian.
Yes, the hair. Yeah. It is a very that's who to
But
compare
apparently he's great. This guy.
Yeah, no, he was. I mean, he was an all-pro guy. Yeah. So Javarius Ward, I think, is a very good corner for sure. But I think Slay can be just as good as Ward. I think the Eagles, the Niners safeties are good, but Kevin Byard's been really good the last 2 weeks.
Byard was great.
Yeah, Byard's been awesome. We didn't talk
about it much, but that was
very good in Kansas City.
He was all over the field. He was great. Yeah, really good. Had the pick.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. And then he was all over the field against the Bills. He was really good.
So
Bradley Roby matters in the secondary.
Here's another little fun stat for you. Let me see if I can find it really quick on my phone. I have it remembered, but I just want to. So
I remember, but I just want to make sure I
remember. So the Eagles and Niners have played 3 common opponents this year.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out. Let me see. Hold on.
Well, Dallas, I can remember.
Obviously is one of them. Yeah, because the Niners beat Dallas 42-10. So
okay, I didn't include that one. So they played 4.
So they played.
I already told you 2 of them.
You told me to. Minnesota. They lost to Minnesota, didn't they? The Niners.
Let me pull it up. Well, I did the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree.
Oh yeah. So Miami.
Yeah.
They played Miami too.
I'm pretty sure.
The Niners did?
No. The 3 opponents are. You're throwing me off too much.
Yeah.
They were the Rams, the Vikings, and Tampa Bay, and then I forgot about Dallas.
And Dallas.
So there's 3. But those 3, the Eagles gave up fewer points to those 3 than the Niners did.
There you go.
Do you like that?
Sure.
Now the Eagles gave up what to Dallas?
23.
So the Niners gave up 10. Yeah. So they would end up being ahead.
But that was also a game where they were way. I mean, it's one of those games where the game was over. It's not Dallas wasn't really trying.
The point I'm making is, while the stats are not on the Eagles' side, I think the Eagles' defense can be just as good as the Niners' defense.
Love it.
I think the advantage Eagles have on offense is bigger than the advantage the Niners have on defense.
Okay, I love this.
What do you think?
I agree with you. Look, I think they're winning the game. So I think that.
Well, let me say this too.
Yes.
I think everything I'm saying can be correct and they can lose.
Of course.
Yeah, but this game will not change how I feel unless it's really bad.
Yeah,
but
even then it won't.
Even then it'll probably be fluky.
I think the thing that we haven't talked about enough my biggest concern going into this game is the playing that game in the rain on Monday night.
Yeah, it's hard. Just physically, the Chiefs game.
Then the amount of snaps that those guys played in
and
the
it's going to rain
on Sunday. We talked about last time. Reed Blankenship, the most snaps a player has played since 2012. Josh Sweat, career high in snaps, was the most Eagles defensive end and played in a decade or whatever. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, all these guys career high snaps by miles. I mean, Jalen Carter played 80 snaps. I mean, freaking. What was
Jordan Davis.
Son Reddick played 83 snaps. Jordan Davis played 60-something snaps. We had Seth Joyner on. They were Seth, what's the most snaps you ever played in a game? He's I don't know, 70?
Right.
Or he was
and that was back when.
And that was back in the day, dude.
Yeah. On the vet stadium.
So to play 90 snaps, 80 snaps, that's my worry is just physically, because I agree from a motivation perspective. I think both these teams are coming and chomping at the bit. I don't think there's any more, like they want it desperately, both of them. They both have it circled, all the stuff we talked about. I just worry that the Eagles might be a little tired.
Well, and just like 3 really emotionally taxing games.
That too.
Dallas, I know you had the bye week, but Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo are like 3 of the more emotionally taxing games they've had.
3 games that came down in the last second. Of the game, like,
raining hard. So and then you have Dallas next week. I don't think it's a look ahead team.
No,
but
I can't. There's this.
I don't think it's a look ahead.
Look, this team didn't look ahead last week. They're not looking ahead. You said it last week. This team doesn't look ahead. That Bills game, like if there was, that was the all-time look ahead spot after beating Casey like that on Monday night, and then having this circle game coming up next. Like there was no bigger look ahead spot, and they didn't look ahead.
So Ross Tucker and you guys were talking about this on your show. And I don't think they should, like, I don't feel, so prior to the Kansas City game, I thought it would have been smart to hold some things because you're probably going to play them in the Super Bowl. But baked into that was, I don't think you can trick Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes twice. I don't feel that same way about Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. I think you can put your best foot forward on Sunday and then also have a plan on Sunday to give their best, like to also win. But my question for you is like, is there any part of you that, I don't know, would you hold a little back? Like they need it. For sure. You can't just overlook this game. But you probably are playing them again. Probably.
Yeah, it's very likely they would play them again the way this would shake out. I think it's very likely.
Although, if San Fran has to go to Dallas. Oh, they won't. Never mind. My bad.
No, if they're the 2 seed.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And even then, Dallas would probably come here. The way it looks like the most likely shakeout, if the standings as they are now more or less translate to then, is that, you know, Detroit wins its home game, the Niners win its home game, Dallas beats the NFC South team, and we're facing Dallas and then the Niners.
It's a rough.
That's
a little different than Giants and the Niners without Purdy.
Well, it's also, you know, we mentioned on the air today and think about, like, let's just say it's Dallas, Niners, Chiefs, or Ravens, whatever you want to say, but let's say it's Chiefs. Like, think about, like, having the hardest schedule we've ever seen the Eagles have during the regular season. And then that gauntlet at the end. Like, if the Eagles won the Super Bowl with all that, like, if they were able to get through this regular season schedule that they have and then play Dallas again, the Niners again, and then the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl and win all those, what more could you ask for?
Well,
team,
and
man?
that's like,
I mean, that would be the all-time schedule. Like you could, like that. That's about as hard a road to a Super Bowl as you could ever ask for.
And then there'll be an interesting debate about like which ring's more impressive, which will be a fun debate to have if it happens. Like the 17 versus 22.
If it plays out this way and the Eagles win the Super Bowl, they have to, long way to go.
Right.
If it plays out the way I said, I think it's the most impressive Super Bowl win of the last 30 years. Like in terms of schedule. I'm just talking what you had to do to get there.
Yeah.
Now, the only argument against it is there's no all-time great team you're going up against. You're not going up against like those 90s Cowboys.
Well, the Eagles might be the all-time.
Niners when they used to. Yeah, but that's
I mean, other teams might be looking at it and saying the Eagles are that all-time.
But I mean, just in terms of scheduling, like I can't imagine a harder path.
Yeah, I think that the 17 ring will be hard to top just because, like,
it's the most magical
in the way it happened.
Dude, like, it was our first ring, and it's like literally a sports movie.
Right.
Like we won in a sports movie.
Right.
We had our MVP, the MVP of the league, go down. We had a guy who was here before as
come
history
back,
here, come back, suck it first, then put it together to play the 2 greatest games in the history of the franchise in the championship game in the Super Bowl, like the strip sack, a great game, 41-33, like super entertaining, most yards in an NFL game ever by any game ever, like all this stuff. Like and for Foles to do what he did, I don't think it gets more magical. The Philly special, the whole thing, like there is no more magical way to win a Super Bowl than what happened.
But I think
better is a different thing.
I think to your point, if we weren't an Eagles pod, I think it'd be very easy for look at that ring and go, it was cool.
Fluky.
But exactly. I think this ring would be
like
around the league, there would
be unimpeachable.
Exactly.
And I think that's wrong to look at that as fluky. We all know that.
Agreed. I'm just saying what the perception.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah. All right, let's get to the Shaq Leonard thing because he's here. So yesterday,
he's in Philadelphia as we speak.
For those who might not know,
me and Shaq Leonard will be in the same building.
Darius Leonard. Oh, look at you.
Yeah, no big deal to me.
Formerly Darius Leonard, now Darius Shaquille Leonard. His middle name, he goes by Shaq now. But for those who, I've had multiple people this week say to me, wait, Darius, isn't that Darius Leonard? It's like, it is Darius Leonard. Same guy.
It's Darius Shaquille Leonard. Yes. He used to go as Shaq Leonard. Now he goes as Darius, I believe.
He went as Darius. Now
okay, that's what I meant to say. Sorry.
So a lot of people know him. I knew him as Darius first. Anyway, he's in town. Colts cut him, obviously. Injuries, all kinds of stuff. Was a all-pro as recently as a couple years ago.
Yep.
Was what many believe the best inside linebacker.
He was one of the best defensive players, just in terms of like he wasn't Micah Parsons, but just in terms of being a game wrecker, he was
a very meaningful player in the NFL, and then injuries and has fallen off very, very quickly. Still think there's a lot left in the tank. Was in Dallas yesterday. Reports coming out, hey, if he leaves Dallas, he's going to Philly tomorrow.
And here he is. Big Dom picked him up.
And he left Dallas. You've talked about that over the years. The like, don't let the guy leave thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a big believer in that.
I would be shocked if he doesn't sign with the Eagles.
At this point, I would be too.
I'll put it this way. Unless they do a physical and they see something they don't like.
Unless the Eagles choose not to sign him, is your point.
Right, but yes, agree. But I think the Eagles want him. I think
he's here for reasons.
No, but I'm saying I don't think it's just like a casual pat. Like, I think they want him to sign.
Okay.
But I think that the physical would be the one thing.
All right, so take us through your thoughts on the whole Leonard thing with him being here.
Right.
Could he play on Sunday? All that whole thing.
Right. So if he signs today, I think he will play on Sunday.
I mean, that'd be huge. Was Zach Cunningham out?
Exactly, right. Zach Cunningham out. Right. They played guys right away. They played Byrie right away. They played Sue and Joseph last year.
Cunningham right away.
They played Zach Cunningham right away. Like, they've played guys right away.
Yeah. Byard.
I think the Eagles
play 100% of the snaps his first game.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the Eagles are uniquely set up to just dominate a player visit. Like, Nick Sirianni might be the best head. There's others, like Tomlin's really cool. There are other coaches, but in terms of just a guy making good first impression and nailing a sales pitch, I think Sirianni has to be up there amongst the best.
And not to mention the fact that he knows the guy.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. He knows the guy too, right?
He was on the gold.
Howie Roseman, if Howie and this guy's agent are sitting in a room together and it's let's get this done, Howie is someone that will get it done. He will find even if let's say Leonard wants a deal that goes into next year or whatever, right? I think Howie will get it done. But I also think the Eagles have a locker room where if Shaq or Darius, whatever we want to call him, walks through, Jalen's super cool to me. I think they have guys that can do the sales pitch.
I agree.
So I think if
that Jalen thing is cool, by the way. It's been a long time since we had a player it's like Bryce Harper with the Phillies.
Yeah, no one's going up to Carson and being I guess that guy on the Rams just did.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever.
That guy definitely thought he was Matt Stafford. Let's be completely
honest. You think so?
Of course.
No, because I think that guy's a Phillies fan, an Eagles fan.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure that's the story.
Because I thought he was I was pretty sure he thought he was Stafford.
That's funny. I never thought about that. But
quarterback in the Rams.
I thought the guy was an Eagles fan.
You might have been.
I could be wrong about that.
In which case, that's fair.
Yeah.
But Jalen, I think it's the first time oh, look, A.J. Brown, an example of it. I mean, they traded for him, but he wanted to come play with him. I think we got a dude who people are oh, I'd love to go play with that guy.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, you hear it in the way guys talk about him, whether it's BG or Kelsey. We have both those guys on the morning show the last 2 days, and we have every Tuesday and Wednesday. And the way they talk about Jalen, it's reverential. He's a kid. They're over a decade older than this kid. So they talk about him in reverential tones, it's a special thing.
I think the Eagles will make a very good impression on him, and I think he will be excited about the fact that he could win a Super Bowl here, and he'll play. Well,
that's the other thing.
He'll play.
He will step in and play.
Yes, he will play. So I think they're going to sign him. That's my prediction.
Assuming he's healthy.
Yeah, assuming he's healthy. Now to the player, he's not been the same guy the last years. You can't overlook that.
He got cut.
And I'm sure they tried.
Full stop. Period.
And I'm sure they tried to trade him before the trade deadline.
Of course they did. There is no team in the NFL.
Now it is the Colts.
You're right. They're pretty dumb.
And they have a bad general manager
and a bad owner.
Yeah.
But there is no team in the NFL that is going to have a player of that stature.
Right.
That is going to release him without at least checking the
And
books.
the fact that he cleared waivers shows that while teams were probably interested, they weren't going to trade for him on that contract.
Yep.
So I think he's still a very good player. Look, I have not watched. Let me start that over. I think he can still be a good player. If you look at his Pro Football Focus grades, he is still very good in coverage. This year, 70% of the snaps he's played on defense,
which would be a big
one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. So that would be a big bonus.
Especially with Cunningham out.
Especially with Cunningham out. And physically they have a similar body type, long arms, good in coverage. I would sign him. Put it that way. And if he wants, let's just say he comes in and he wants a 2-year deal or whatever, just give him the money. It's just money. You can work around it. If the coaching staff thinks that he helps the team, then just pay him to make it happen.
I'm 100% with you. I want him signed today. I want him playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
We just heard the news Zach Cunningham will be out on Sunday. It looks like it could linger a few weeks. This injury, a hamstring. We all know what that is.
Now, for what it's worth, that was a report.
It was a report.
Yeah, just throwing it.
No, I'm sorry. Did I not say?
The
report is that he will not play.
Correct.
Well, I think we could say he's not playing.
I don't think he's going to play this week.
The report was that it could be linger.
Correct.
I think it's pretty clear he's not going to play this week.
I agree.
And that's a big loss. I mean, it's a big loss for this team. Cunningham's been really, really important for this team.
Like, their depth at linebacker is not good.
It's non-existent.
So one concern I had with this is...
They keep bringing Ben Van Summeren up on the roster.
Yeah.
Special teams.
And I bet he'll get called up this week to 53 because...
Sure.
So if you look at, like... One concern I had was the fact that I think Morrow and Cunningham have played well this year. And I'm not thrilled about benching one of them. But... So I was talking to Ike about this on air yesterday, and I thought Ike is like the best person ever to answer this.
He was that type of player.
He was that type of player at a linebacker, like right. So, and Ike said it just is what it is. So I'm gonna move past that.
Which it is. I agree. I think it's they're not those players are not of enough stature for it to cause an issue in a locker room.
No, but all I'll say is like this. I don't think it causes an issue in the locker room. I just feel bad for those players.
Of course.
Now I'm just putting that out there. Yeah. Yeah. I just
that's
feel,
life. I mean,
I get it, and I wouldn't prevent me from it. But that is one. Like I just want to stress. I don't think either of them. I don't think either of them deserve to be benched. Like I just don't.
No, they played well.
Yeah, and it's like this is gonna be one of the unfair parts of the NFL.
Sure.
But
that's what it is.
Like I think they could use Shaq Leonard, but I don't think it's like a massive signing. Like fans will be excited, and that's fun to be excited.
Not a massive signing, but I think the Cunningham injury does change the dynamic.
It helps. Agreed with that.
It makes it more pressing.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. And by all accounts, it seems like Leonard's a good guy.
It seems like he's a great guy.
Yeah, it seems like he's a great guy.
He seems like he's one of those.
Does stuff in the community. He was at the Colts game on Sunday.
Even though what the Colts put out about him when they cut him, and then it was like one of the most glowing statements I've ever seen. Like it was like, this guy's the best.
Yep.
Nickname Maniac, that's always
good nickname.
Too.
Yeah, like, and I think he'll come here super motivated. I think being in a better organization will help him. Like, it wouldn't shock me if he came in here and was like unbelievable
at all.
Right.
I mean, look, Zach Cunningham was on the street and he came in. He was really good.
Yeah,
and
the
he's
Eagles
not close to the talent that Leonard was.
And the Eagles are breaking news. Yeah, the Eagles are a way better team than the Colts. They
get the best out of this.
So I would do it. I bet they will do it. Like you see the picture of him and Big Dom, and it's like he's not going to Dallas. He's not going to Dallas.
I agree. The Eagles would. I think the fact that he left Dallas is a huge sign.
I also don't think the Eagles would have him in here. And I'm not saying I don't think they tell John Clark like where the plane is, but they're putting on a bit of a dog and pony show, I guess. Like they everyone knows he's coming. There's a picture of him now.
Schefter putting it out. He's coming.
Exactly right. Like I don't think the Eagles would do that unless
they never do that.
Yeah,
I agree with
this is very anti-Eagle.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious on how many players went into the Eagles building and didn't sign.
That's a great question.
That aren't like workout players for the practice squad. Like names of significance stepped in the Novacare and don't sign.
That's a good question.
It can't be many.
No. Yeah. Love it.
So yeah, we'll see.
Love it. Well, we'll be recording the Bet Parks Picks tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll talk a little
update
Shaq
on Lane, probably.
Yeah, update
probably
on Lane,
a Shaq Leonard update.
All right, you got anything else before we get to final thoughts?
No, it's one of those weeks where this is my final thought. Like I'm very wrapped up in the game.
Yeah. It's like it's just.
Yeah. So like I just don't really have many final thoughts outside of that.
It just. I've thought about nothing.
Yeah, I mean seriously, like I spent like 4 hours yesterday just researching the Niners, like. Sat in here and thought about the Niners until we recorded.
Doing work, I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I figured might as well.
All right, I'll give my final thought.
You got one?
Well, I said yesterday I was going to give you a word that I like that I need to use more.
Go ahead.
I love the word lads. I feel like
dude, you are barking up the right tree on this one.
Right?
So
we don't use lads.
I think lads. I think it's a phenomenal word. So obviously I was just in Scotland, right? And I've been in Ireland. So like big word over there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love so me and my wife or Kristen, obviously, have a joke where like we'll walk by a bunch of like cool kids. We'll be like, look at those lads.
Yeah.
I think it's
we call Rube a lad a lot.
I think it's a great word. Chilling with the lads. Yeah.
And I'm looking with lads too, but lads better.
Lads better.
Lads good too.
Lads is fine.
It's fine.
Lads is better.
Is strong.
I think.
I'm so happy you're with me.
Here's my take on lass.
Yes.
I think used within the terms of lad, it's good, but I think
lads and lassies.
Used by itself, I think
agree.
I'm not a huge fan.
I know there's something pejorative.
Agreed. Right. It's I'm not a fan of you. Or like
oh lassie.
Right. Or like but I think the lad is a very fun, endearing term. Like just me and the lads.
Just three lads hanging out, recording podcasts.
Agreed.
Shout out to Tucker over there. I love it.
Yeah, I'm big on that word.
I'm so happy. I can't tell you the joy when I come with the final thought that you're on board.
Oh, it's amazing. I love the word lad. Yeah, I love the word lad.
All right, lads. Thanks for listening.
There you go.
Lasses as well. Tomorrow we'll be back with the Bet Parks Pick Pod. We'll pick all the games, but we will continue to talk about this game.
Yes,
and we will.
It's a big one.
The Lane update, Cunningham official update, all that type of stuff tomorrow, and will Shaq Leonard be an Eagle? We're gonna find that out tomorrow too. And then Saturday, 1 to 3 on WIP. Like. If you're one of our real ones,
this is the show.
This is it.
This is the show.
Call in. We need all of you on Saturday, so get in then. So all that's coming up for just a massive freaking week. Let's go. Suck it, Niners. I freaking hate you.
Here we go. It's Niners week. Yeah.
It's Niners.
Lads,
it's like
it's Niners week.
It's Niners week now. Lads, it's Niners.
That's the title pod. The pod is the title. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Get ready, lads. It's Niners week.
Get ready, lads. It's Niners week.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Until then.